Hi, I'm Mark Young. This is the long version about my case for anybody who's interested. It's what I call a summary. It's a history of my case from the time I joined the Marine Corps in 1981 up through 1994. That's the heart of my case lasted through that. It went further than that, which I'll get into in another segment. Up through about 2001 is when I finally gave up and realized that just beating my head against the wall. But I fought the good fight for about from 1989 to 2001, about 12 or 13 years. This case is known as Kathy Young versus Mark Young. My kid's mother remarried. She's now Kathy Ewell. But I like to call this case Virginia versus Young because in essence that's what it is, even though it supposedly is Young versus Young. And I think the majority of cases where fathers are being dispossessed of their children, becoming exiled parents, they should call it what it really is. Call a spade a spade. My case is Virginia versus Young. The state of Virginia stole my right to be a father, stole my kids, and extorted money from me for about 15, 16 years. I'm doing this now. I'm able to do this recording and try to expose the divorce industry now after so many years, only because my father passed away last year, and due to an inheritance I've been able to afford some equipment, this equipment for the website and this camera. I would have done this years ago if it had been possible then, but I've lived on the edge financially all those years, which is why I went to jail several times because I couldn't pay the extortion payments, what they call child support. And I prepared this document years ago, so I'll basically just read through it, and I think that's the quickest way to get this job done. I'll try to elaborate where I can. And I want to start out by saying who the perpetrators were in this case. The attorneys and judges, psychologists who were involved in collusion to deny my constitutional rights. It's entitled The Divorce Industry in Newport News and Williamsburg, Virginia. The fascist slave masters, yes, disguised as lawyers, judges, court clerks, psychologists, social workers, and others who conspired to steal my children and deny me due process of law, equal protection of the law, my liberty interest in my family, my right to be a father, and denied to my children the love, affection, companionship, and moral guidance from their father and his family. That is, they denied them one half of their heritage by means of legalized kidnapping and continual extortion, which finally financially crippled me to the point of inability to maintain relations with my children. Thousands of parents across the country, mostly fathers, have been similarly victimized by the divorce industry. This is my story. The perpetrators, the traitors to the U.S. Constitution and to their respective offices or professions. 1989 to 1990, my wife's attorney, Robin Hilton Hanson of Jones, Bleckman, Woltz, and Kelly, Newport News, Virginia. 1989, Judge Robert M. Jacoby, Newport News Juvenile and Domestic Relations District Court. 1989 to 1990, Judge Robert W. Curran, Newport News Circuit Court. 1990, Attorney Darrell M. Harding of Monteith and Harding, Virginia Beach. He was my attorney. 1991, Court of Appeals of Virginia. Certain members and/or staff dismissed my case. The Supreme Court of Virginia, certain members and/or staff, dismissed my case. 1993 to 1996, Judge Thomas B. Hoover, Williamsburg Juvenile and Domestic Relations District Court. 1994-1995, Attorney Stephen D. Harris, Williamsburg, Virginia, my wife's second attorney. 1994, Dr. Thomas D. Coe, psychologist, quote unquote, ex parte evaluator. He's the one who refused to evaluate me when he was ordered to by the court, because he got more money interviewing my wife and 3 kids, so he didn't want to have any complications in there, so he just canceled my appointment basically. And I'll get into the fact that his ex parte evaluation was dismissed by the court. 1994 to 1995, Judge William L. Person, Jr., Williamsburg Circuit Court. That's spelled as Person, P-E-R-S-O-N. 1994 to 1995, Judge Russell M. Carneal, Williamsburg Circuit Court. 1995, Judge Samuel T. Powell, Williamsburg Circuit Court. That's the cast. That's the heart of the divorce industry in Newport News and Williamsburg, Virginia, that took my kids from me. An overview of my case: I'm going to talk about my marriage, starting a family, the agreement to temporarily move to Virginia from California, Kathy's breach of agreement and conspiracy to steal my children with collusion by the Virginia courts, divorce custody battles and attempts to get the courts to recognize evidence and constitutional law, alienation of my children, bankruptcy, loss of driver's license, and a total of 9 months in jail, worse than debtor's prison, because I didn't incur the debts, for failure to pay the extortion, so-called child support, as a divorce industry slave. In August of 1991, I married Kathy in 29 Palms, California, while we were both on active duty in the Marine Corps. I had chosen California as a duty station due to its diversity of choices for a legal education. I wanted to go to law school. Couldn't get into major law schools, didn't do that well on LSAT, but I had been accepted to a school in San Diego at that time. Fall of 1983, I separated briefly from Kathy, neither of us having had plans to start a family at that point. We later reconciled within a matter of weeks. I was honorably discharged in December 1983, completed college, graduated with a BA in social sciences. It was a multidisciplinary major of history, psychology, and government. I completed that while on the Marine base in 29 Palms in 1985, and after I was discharged.